not being able to get access to some text or some story.
Sure.
It happens to all of us. But work with what's going on in our time, because Lord knows every pop writer does that. I mean, they
Right.
don't. At least I'm not aware of a famous pop artist deciding to set Emily Dickinson or Ralph Waldo Emerson. I mean, that would be a concept album for you, wouldn't it? So I mean,
It would be.
yeah.
We
And I
should
think sometimes,
contact, yeah,
yeah,
somebody to do
yeah,
it.
right. So, yeah, it's gotten to be a livelier market, and it's also got less risk. Obviously, if you write a long opera, a 30-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute opera, um, uh, no one should write a 90-minute opera without knowing where that 90-minute opera is going to go. In other words, somebody says I'll workshop it, or somebody says I'll produce it, or somebody says I'll premiere it, or even if somebody says at least I'll look at it seriously. But otherwise, that's a true recipe for heartbreak. Whereas, writing a 90-second song, we can all write a 90-second song without feeling like we've spent a huge chunk of our lives, and it's much more likely to get performed and to get out there. So
Sure.
it's a fun way for someone earlier on in their development to get out there and get known.
Awesome. Well, we unfortunately had very small technical glitch. There was a hiccup in the stream, so we sort of skipped channels on YouTube Live. Hopefully our subscribers have followed us and see that we moved from one place to the other, but I apologize for that. It was a glitch in the matrix. So I want to mention to everybody that's watching, there is a link. I'm going to put it up here on the screen in a minute, but it was also in our original broadcast. I'm going to put this link up here on the screen because if you are a music educator, you have the opportunity to win yourself a Casio Tone keyboard. And the link, I'm going to try and make that larger. That's a mouthful, but we're going to make sure it's in the description of this video. Follow this shortcut, register there, and you could be randomly chosen to win yourself a Casio Tone keyboard for yourself or your school. So do register there. We would love to do that. And again, sorry about the little small glitch in the matrix. We missed just a few seconds of Michael talking about stories and having a song or a full piece, telling a story is the most important thing, whether we're talking about a short piece of popular music or an opera, or a photograph. Everything needs, telling an effective story is a super important lesson here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're
You can
Go ahead.
you can tell a story about anything. I mean, you can tell a story about this coffee cup. It doesn't. It's in fact, I think in some ways the more pedestrian or everyday something is, the more you can make it interesting, or the more you can make it amusing. You know, and so I encourage people to just look around your life, and not necessarily talk about your life, because that'll make you self-conscious. I mean, I think I can count on the fingers of one hand the songs that I've written that I think are slightly or autobiographical, and I won't tell you which ones they are. And so that it's just better. It frees you up if you're just you know interacting with the world around you, as opposed to working deep within your soul. I mean, if you're one of those deep within your soul types, bravo, go for it, go for it. Expose your soul, and let us all know where that is. But I'm all about the other characters, the characters that are on stage, because it's a very collaborative art form, theater, and no one should go into theater, right, unless they really like to collaborate. And the way I look at it, a young singer knows how to sing better than I do. Even the last stand second violinist knows how to play the violin better than I do, believe me. And so, we're all bringing things to the table in a wonderfully collaborative art form. And that is the joy of it. And of course, sometimes if you find it frustrating, you just need to kind of go back into your room and, I don't know, write a song that you can play and sing yourself.
Sure. That was something that I noticed about the NOA conference, was that as compared to, NAMM, maybe some of the other conferences that I've gone to, which are wonderful, and the energy of a music conference is incredible. But the cohesion of an opera conference that brings together, because opera is that art form that brings together all the disciplines of performance, of live performance, it was cool. I mean, obviously, meeting you, seeing old friends, and going to the conference after not going to a conference for 2 years was also incredible.
That was part of it. That the National Opera Association had this conference in early January, and I think January in Florida seemed like a risk for some people, but it was pulled off in good style. We had a large crowd there, and at least for us, we're a smallish organization, but we had a good crowd and no COVID outbreak.
No.
I think we're all looking forward to getting back into the world, and
Sure.
It's been just delightful to get back into the room, coaching singers or being involved in productions. So I'm really glad that things are getting that way.
One of the things that we've kind of noticed, so before COVID, Casio brought back their Casio Tone series, and one of the giveaways today is the CTS 200, and the CTS 200 is the modern version of those little Casios that people used to put in their bags that you talked about in the 80s. People are getting these instruments are amazing. 61 notes, hooks up to a computer, fine, but has enough sound to be able to carry around with you. There have been a number of real success stories of using these instruments, these Casio tones. So I wanted to say that we're really we're, I think, an integral part of voice education, and we're an integral part of surviving COVID and getting instruments into students' hands so that they could keep going. And a lot of these students are opera singers. A lot of these students are opera students.
I mean, Tony, you mentioned that, opera currently is one of the most popular genres in the music industry on a collegiate level. Is that correct?
Well, what I realized at NOA was that, okay, so the voice department of most college music departments is probably the largest department, and you have most of the time at least 4 vocal teachers and a choral conductor, and it really does. I know that at Alma, at one point, the people in the choir at our little school represented 20% of the student body. And we find that all over the place because, for some reasons, you don't have to necessarily start singing at an early age to become a professional singer. And I know that our keyboards are being used a lot by, obviously, especially during COVID, but they're being used a lot by people who didn't have access. Just something you can carry around. The little Casio tones weigh 7.8 pounds or 8 pounds or something.
Yeah, they're extremely light. Extremely light. And
they've got a handle.
And you've got a CTS-1 right behind you, Anthony, to your right. So and you've put that one on planes, and
this was at NOA. This was the one that we used in the Brubeck presentation.
that one folds in half, right? Something like that.
No, it just
No, that's a
it
different
fits
one.
like that in an overhead bin on the airplane. I just carried
Oh,
it
gotcha.
on, which cracked me up
Are you?
because I've never carried on a keyboard. Back in the late '90s, we had some students who, when we went to Scotland, we took a tour to Scotland, and we had some students that brought back claymores, and this is much smaller than a claymore. Of course, you can't bring a claymore on a plane anymore, but you could back then.
Oh my goodness. We digress. So, Michael, I have a really bizarre question for you. Have you
Okay.
written any music for a vocal synthesizer yet?
Well, I've been fascinated by that.
I don't know if you've seen it yet. So
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, but I am curious because that does sound like a handy thing. You know, I have written back in 2010. I wrote this full-length a cappella opera, and it's got contemporary a cappella in it, and it's got opera and musical theater and pop references to it. And so, you know, demoing that was pretty challenging without an instrument like that. And so when I heard about that instrument, it's like, whoa, I need to figure out whether something like that would be sounds incredibly useful.
well, and Tony, you're writing a piece that we're going to try and get some recording
We're going
done.
to try to get a recording of the Gloria that I sent you
Yeah.
on the vocal synthesizer, which is awesome, just awesome.
Yeah, I
Because
hope
the
it,
MIDI sounds for voice aren't great on most things. They're the
Oh.
worst thing they're the worst thing to try to figure out what something is going to sound like when you're using Finale or Sibelius like I use. It just is ridiculous, and it would be so nice to hear the words and have, you know, maybe some dynamics with the words.
We can do that. I mean, CTS 1000V, if you can get them, and there are more coming in, I'm told. And that's been the biggest problem is we building them fast enough right now as a CTS 1000V. It's an amazing, unique piece. So, Michael, I was going to ask you what's next on your horizon. What are you working on now, or is there anything you can tell us about that's not top secret?
I am working on I'm about to go to Towson University for a production of this Midsummer Night's Dream opera. That's going to be about 2 weekends from now, and they've been working on that all year, and I'm just dying to see how that's working again because it's a piece that's this will only be the third time the piece is done, and I've written a small orchestration to keep all the a cappella singers in tune, and that was something I didn't do the first time. So I'm excited about that. Later this summer, I go to the Taos Opera Institute, which is a wonderful place for singers up above Taos in the ski valley. So the idea is that if you can sing at 7,000 feet or whatever the heck it is, you'll sing fine down when you're below. And so they trot them around on hikes up to 9,000 feet, and then they come back down and they sing all day. And they're doing a production of Speed Dating. It's a fun little program up in the ski valley. And then later on this summer, I'm the composer in residence at Savannah Voice Festival, and it's been a great privilege in my life to work with Cheryl Milnes and Maria Zulis, who are the founders of that place. And I've written, I don't know, 4 or 5 different projects over the years for them, but there are 2 operas, 2 one-act operas about female characters who were important in the history of Savannah. One's called Alice Riley, which was dated from the 1730s. Sad story of the first person hanged by the colony of Georgia. And the second one is set in the 1940s and 50s. It's called Anna Hunter, who was a newspaper woman who helped basically keep Savannah from deciding it wanted to look like, I don't know, Jacksonville or Atlanta. Savannah is a city with a beautiful historic character, and they were able to retain that historic character and not modernize excessively. So it was these are 2 different kinds of female heroes, and those operas have been done separately, but they've never been done together. And so this is a nice premiere for me to have them done together on
Are
the
they
same evening.
Are they both one act?
They are both one acts, and so it'll be an evening of two one acts. And I've signed a sort of mental pledge to never write an opera that doesn't have more female characters than male characters, because the classics have a big problem with that. They may be called Tosca, or they may be called Traviata, but the truth is La Traviata has two women in it, and Tosca has one. So and yet when we deal with the enrollment levels at our college and university programs, women outnumber men 8-1 in most of those programs. So
Yeah.
we need to just rewrite the whole repertoire moving forward to give more roles for women, and
Yeah, sorry. I was watching the thumbs up comments in the chat, so I just had to add that.
Yeah.
No, that's serious. That's great.
It's just something that everybody should do, male, female, whatever you are. You should write more roles for women, because you're just, practically speaking, you will have more performances. More people will do your stuff, because that is really what the marketing is. And I can tell you from running an opera company that it's the women who buy the tickets. The men come sometimes, but it's the women who buy the tickets. So it's fundamentally a female-led audience, the female performers. It needs to permeate the management levels as well. And so it's one of those things that, if you want to be performed, write more roles for women. So anyway, those two things are happening, and then you mentioned my Johnny Skiki sequel, Buozo's Ghost. I have a lovely homecoming coming next January and February, the Florida Grand Opera, where I had my second job, really first job after the Houston Grand Opera, is going to do Johnny Skiki and Buozo's Ghost, and they're going to let me conduct it. So
awesome.
That's going to be an awesome chance to do five performances of that in an opera company that I was a piano player there back in the 80s. That was a wonderful and interesting opportunity to work with Pavarotti, Domingo, Milnes, all those great people from that era walked through those halls, and it was just a fascinating experience to get to work with these people and give them car rides home to their condos and all that stuff. So I'm very excited to be going back to Florida Grand after really a 40-year absence. So it's going well, and there are a couple of new projects as well. So lots going on, and we haven't talked about this. I have this sort of sidelight that I do. I've always been interested ever since I was in Memphis, writing country songs.
Awesome.
It's just country songs, and it's something that I've always just loved. My wife Barbara used to be she's a retired English professor, was quite well known for writing books about country lyrics, and so it's just something that's been in the house, and so I have this dream of someday managing to sell a country song in Nashville.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, we might be able to connect you with some other Casio artists in the Nashville area, maybe, if you need any help.
Yeah.
We have a number of performers and players and writers in that area that are working players and fans of Casio. So, therefore, they are fans of you.
That's great. Hook me up. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be interesting. It's just I don't know. We've talked about this beforehand. I kind of view it as a sort of healthy form of gambling, working in selling, trying to sell a pop song. You can't. At least I don't want to put my whole life into it. But I do think it crosses over into the whole business of writing lyrics, because with a pop song, you want somebody to remember it instantly, and I think we've lost that in classical song, that ability to write things that are just instantly remembered. Those kinds of earworms. Like no one teaches you how to write an earworm in composition class.
No.
And they should. I mean, I think that the truth is that you write a few earworms and people
Earworms
listen.
101.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, that's right.
new class.
Earworms 101. That's right. There should be Earworms 101.
Oh, that's fantastic, Michael. Well, I really appreciate you spending your time with us and telling us about your career and where music has been taking you, and a little bit of Casio along the way, which we love, of course.
It's been my pleasure, and I wouldn't have done this if I didn't believe in what Casio does, and I just appreciate the opportunity to share.
So, Michael, just real quick before we go, I think I've had it up on the screen. I'm going to put it up one more time. Where
I've just lost your volume.
I think we lost Mike for a second.
Sorry, I am still here.
I can
There we
hear you
go.
now.
I'm
I can
here.
hear you now.
So, Michael, I was going to ask, where can people go to learn more about you? Is it your website, which I'm putting up here on the screen right now, Opera and Beyond?
Yeah, the website's good. There's some YouTube videos of speed dating. There's SoundCloud site. A lot of it's very much demo quality. I don't really have to worry too much about making perfect recordings, but it does give you they're mostly up there for people who are interested in producing my work to learn it. So yeah, there's SoundCloud, there's YouTube, and there's the website.
Opera
Then there's the
and
Wikipedia page.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's where I learned so much about you, at the Michael Ching on Wikipedia, and the list of all the operas. And you were, I just one more side note. So you were talking earlier about writing about life experiences, and maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. But is there any of you in Speed Dating Tonight, your opera?
Well, I've never been speed dating.
Okay, that's the question.
So when it came time to do it, because a friend of mine, Dean Anthony, who runs the Janiac Opera at Brevard, said, "Hey, Michael, why don't you write an opera about speed dating?" It was his idea, and I don't think he'd been speed dating either, but everybody just kind of knew about it. And then I just started researching it by asking my young singer friends, like, "Hey, have you ever been speed dating? How did it work for you?" And I actually had some very positive feedback about it. There were people who said, "Yes, speed dating, was fun, and I met a lot of people, and no, I don't recall anyone saying they met the love of their life, but they did meet people who they enjoyed, and that they would that they dated for a while." So it was a great little way to do a short form. That this piece is written so that every school or our professional opera company can do it the way they want to. So if you've got, I don't know, 6 men and 15 women, no problem. If you've got, 4 women and 3 men, no problem. I mean, there are schools that have done it with like 45 singers. And
that's brilliant.
There are
That's
actually,
great.
there are actually over almost 100 options. There are going to be 100 options soon, and that's when I will stop. But so it's been and it's changed with the times. I mean, in 2013 there was no transgender, non-binary songs. There are now. There were no songs about certain kinds of social issues. There are some, and there should be more. So it's something that I've been able to change with the times. And it's funny. 2013 doesn't seem like that long ago, but times have.
A lot of things have changed. So, well, that's fantastic, and no wonder that's been performed so much over the last 9 years so far. So,
yeah.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. Well, on behalf of Casio and everybody, just again wanted to thank you for spending the time with us and sharing all of your knowledge and everything with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And so everybody go check out Michael's work at operaandbeyond.com. And also want to thank Anthony Patterson for joining me here today. So thank you, everybody. If you found this video valuable, give us a like and subscribe. And if you are a music educator, don't forget to check the link down below. You have an opportunity to register and win yourself a Casio Tone keyboard. So we'll reach out 1 week from today to announce the winner. So watch your email. And again, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.